Welcome to Darklaw Dominion, where we dive deep into the shadows, the darkest parts of ourselves that we rarely speak of, yet we all feel. I'm your host, Dominion, and in this series, we're not afraid to face the raw truths of our mental health, the battles that rage within, and the weight we carry when no one else is watching. This is where we confront the fears, the pain, the trauma we hide, and uncover the power that lies within the darkness. Because only by facing it can we truly heal and rise. Let's take this journey together. Welcome to the depths of Darklaw Dominion.
Good evening, and welcome to the Creative Dominion podcast with your host, Dominion, and welcome to the season finale of season 1 of the Darklaw Dominion Mental Health series. Again, it's been a wonderful, impactful series in the first year and the inception of the Creative Dominion podcast. So many great topics covered in the mental health series of Darklaw Dominion. Again, diving deep into the darkest parts of the mind to reveal the true light that shines. And so we have a special guest to end it for season 1 of Darklaw Dominion. We have Miss Ashley Jordan out of the ATL. How are you doing, Ashley?
As well. How are you?
I'm wonderful on this wonderful Thursday evening. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Well, my name is Ashley Jordan. I am the founder of Advocates for Growth and Leadership and Meaningful Independence, formerly A Girl Like Me. I am a family violence or domestic violence survivor. A little bit about myself. I was in a very bad situation, relationship, and I ended up leaving in the middle of the night with my children. We moved to Atlanta. We got on a bus and we came to a domestic violence shelter here in Atlanta. About 3 years ago, I was able to launch my very own nonprofit fighting against domestic violence, mental health, and depression at that very same shelter. I do cater to the shelter realm. I do cater to women that are in shelters and that are displaced, that are homeless, and maybe going through different things like that. It is my choice to be an advocate to those women and help them not only find permanent housing, but help them with their life after the fact and the growth that they have to endure after they made that choice to leave and to start their lives over again.
Awesome. And it's a very privilege and honor to have you as the season finale for this wonderful Darklaw Dominion series. And so as we've started every episode on the Creative Dominion podcast in general, but especially the Darklaw Dominion mental health series, I want to do a call to action into the listeners and viewers out there. Again, Darklaw Dominion for the mental health. We've dived deep, really deep into a lot of dark topics. We've covered, how to avoid child predators. We've covered escaping witchcraft and turning back to Christ. We've covered a various realm of topics on the mental health. But today, to end it all for the season 1, we're gonna again, like she said, focus on the light on the other side of dark. And so
Absolutely.
we're going to, encourage all listeners and viewers. I want everyone to, even if you're not a domestic violence survivor or dealt with that realm, everybody has someone in their family, a coworker, a friend. If you're in school, college, everyone knows someone that's went through domestic violence, has either survived or known someone that may have unfortunately not been able to survive. And so we want to honor those people by becoming the best version of ourselves and decreeing the dominion of our own mind. And
Absolutely.
so with that being said, I just want everyone, as we go through this episode finale here today, to take one thing that resonates with you, take one tip, take one, what we call nugget, and just apply it daily to your life to, again, decree the dominion of your own mind to reveal the true light that shines. As I always say, reach one, teach one. And so the challenge as we leave today, and I'll remind everybody at the end again, is to go up to someone and apply the knowledge that you've learned from today's finale. And so, with that said, Ashley, why don't you tell us what motivated you the most to start your nonprofit?
Honestly, when I left my abuser, being in the shelter, it was honestly a new world. Multiple children, different states, by myself, no help from family. Not because my family wasn't willing to help me, but because I had honestly isolated everyone because I had hidden truths that I wasn't ready to share with them. So I was broken to the point where I had no choice but to lean on strangers and people that I met when I got to Atlanta. I remember being in the shelter and it was around the holiday time. Of course, everybody is uh, um a community activist during the holidays. The shelters are full of volunteers during the holidays, and you don't see them no more until November of the next year. But there was always someone there offering to read to the children, hot cocoa, pictures with Santa, different things like that. And I remember sitting in the same dining room that I teach in now and just being so motivated. I was like, I can't wait till I get out of here. It was just kind of like me going up to them, in the shelter. And I'm like, how did you guys do this? Like, who do I talk to do something like this? And they're like, baby, you gotta focus on yourself and get out of here. But in that instant, I found my passion. In that instant, I knew exactly who it was that I wanted to be. And I knew what my calling was. And it was to do the exact same thing that I saw them doing. But I wanted to be consistent and I wanted to take it to a new level and show women that I was literally sitting in the same room that you're sitting in. And I made it. I made it broken. I made it with my children. I made it without family. And I'm going to show you that you can do the exact same thing. And I know that you'll understand me. So that's how it started. It was just a passion. It was me just wanting to do what I saw being done, becoming the woman that I needed in that moment. That's how we got started.
I love that you said that. You said something there early in the beginning that you said, the fair weather folk, the people that only come during the holidays, or you
Mhm.
know, we even see at Walmart. You see the Salvation Army with the bells in the Walmart and donate. Put the money in the tin, like offering at church, and like you said, outside of that, the other 9 months of the year, first quarter of the year is just, or the first 3/4 of the year is, hey, yeah, you're on your own. But as soon as,
Right.
Christmas and Thanksgiving, it's time to do the food drives or different, Secret Santa or Adopt a Family. We have all these organizations for, when the holidays and when the winter time comes. But what about, like you said, the rest of the year? And I kind of want to touch on that really briefly. What was your mindset, as you were, recovering and, getting yourself together within the shelter? What was your mindset kind of, did that, create a extra motivation, an extra fire seeing like, hey, I don't want to, when I do my thing, I don't want to be the fair weather person. I want to be, like you said, 'cause
No, I feel like, have you ever heard that saying, it's not what's on you, it's what's in you? You can never prepare yourself for anything like that. Not only was I was inspired, for lack of a better word. It was something that I wanted to do. I had no clue that I would be blessed enough to be able to do it to a point where I was able to do it year round. I just wanted to help others. I wanted to make someone feel like those people made me feel. There's nothing wrong with doing it, one time out of the year, two times, as long as you're doing something. However, when I did receive my platform and I got my 501c3 status and I began to see what I could really create and how much I could really pour into these ladies and, what I could really do, it made me want to step up a notch and do that. There are some amazing organizations that, law offices, car dealerships that do this, once a year because they work all year and that's not their purpose. What it did was make me understand that I was different. And it made me understand that I did not want a business that I run and we donate every year. It made me understand it. I wanted this as my business. And this was something that I would do every day. And I wanted to answer that calling and say, I stand in the gap and I'm 100% willing to take on that role and do it all day, every day. It was that spark. You can't explain it. It was just something that I knew that I had to do. I knew that my experience couldn't be taught. What I went through, what I experienced with my children before and after, because a lot of times there's this huge thought about leaving. They tell you to leave, get away, leave, and they don't prepare you for what you're going to deal with once you leave. They don't prepare you for the guilt that you're going to feel once you are no longer in survival mode and you're no longer fighting for relevance or whatever it is that you need. And once you finally find that and receive that, and you're sitting in that room, not worried about, what you're going to do the next day or your safety and the safety of your children. And that guilt hits you that, oh my God, this is what I put my babies through. Oh my God, this is what I've endured for, this long. And I could have left. I should have left. They don't prepare you for that. And I knew that there was someone that story was going to resonate with. And I knew that just by being relatable, there was someone that I could touch. That's really what drove me the most, was the fact that I knew that I had been through it and I knew that I could help in a different way.
I love that you said that because, again, like you said, you just have that passion, that calling, it's kind of like, Kobe Bryant, when he first picked up a basketball, it's like, hey, I'm not, you know, this is me, or it's like, a musician that just, hey, I'm bad on the guitar, that's just my
Right.
calling. And I love that you said that. And so with that being said, what was the biggest challenge that you faced, when going through, the recovery of leaving? And like I said, how did you counteract that guilt? And then what was your biggest challenge, when you started that nonprofit?
My biggest guilt was me letting my children down. My oldest son is now 17. At the time, you hear the story that your oldest go through everything with you. My oldest son, I remember him being able to remember every single thing that I went through. I remember him crying with me. I remember the first fight vividly, and him crying, telling me that he wanted his dad, or he wanted to call his dad. And unfortunately, we weren't in a situation where we could do that. He just knew the situation that he was now in with this new person was foreign. This wasn't what he was used to, and he didn't like it. And to go through some of the things that he went through as he became older and had to deal with that, being the oldest and seeing how, it affected not only him, but, other children as well, but him the most. It was a guilt that I didn't know how to face it. I didn't know what to do because I was still healing. Again, they don't tell you about this side of it. You face this guilt, and it's almost a situation where you have no clue what to do, but at the same time, you are hesitant to talk about it because you don't want to be judged. So for me, I began to pour into myself. It was a slow and steady race. If anybody tell you that they read a book and they said a prayer and shook it off, I would say that's a lie. But hey, to each his own. I began to set small goals for myself every day. If I got up on a Monday and I got up on time, got my children ready for school, and handled one thing that I needed to handle for my nonprofit, because I've always had the dream, but I handled one thing for my nonprofit that day, I was okay. You have to be lenient on yourself. You have to have patience with yourself, because the same way he was grieving, I was grieving. However, me being a mom in a new state with multiple children alone, fleeing from an abuser, I didn't have time to sit and talk to a counselor about my mental health. I didn't have time to sit and say, okay, I'm going to wait and I'm going to heal. So I said, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to submerge myself in the work. I began to borrow money. I remember my first real give back. I had a neighbor whose grandmother had just passed away. She was a very wealthy woman, and she had a jewelry shop. She had tons of jewelry, brand new stuff, all kinds of different pieces. And she gave it to me. She was like, because I was crying. I'm like, I don't have gift bags. I don't have this for the ladies. And I'm just kind of venting. And she's like, Ashley, my grandma just left me all this stuff. She had a little jewelry business. Everything, of course, was new. And she's like, I would love to give it to you. And things began to come together. People began to call me and say, hey, you don't have drinks? Do you have desserts to give? You need paper plates, and it was just to the point where it was that resilience. It would not stop, and I wasn't going to allow it to. And once one thing got checked off, you begin to feel a little good. And I'm like, okay, I got my drinks. Somebody else called, I got my gift bag. Somebody else called, you can borrow this amount of money. I got the money for the food. And I kept going. And as I began to keep going, I began to meet women that were where I was. For me to be able to be welcomed back to that same shelter as a survivor when I left a victim was all the motivation that I needed. And it was just to a point where it was like, I don't care about anything else. And honestly, it was like, it just got to the point where it was just like nothing else mattered. This is who I am now. This will be my legacy. And my son will grow with me. He will understand. He will learn. And I'm going to be the example. The same way he's seen me broken and hurt, he's going to see me doing this. And he has. And that was really all that I needed in that time. But of course, there was ups and downs, especially in the beginning. As a survivor, we go through this for real. I didn't go to college for a PhD in anything. I go through this for real. So I was still struggling. I'm still paying bills. I'm still late on bills. Lights might have been cut off. We might have had to have sandwiches. Different things had to happen. But I was more complacent in the fact that they would not see me stop. They would not see me slow down. And most importantly, they would not see me give up. And that became more important. And as I continued to go, that became the fuel that I needed. That helped me begin to heal, because I'm still not 100% where I would love to be. However, I'm nowhere near where I used to be. And I learn something new every day. So I just learned to kind of grow with the process versus trying to be something that's already made or something that's already created, perfect gift. I began to attract more women and more help being my authentic self, watching them watch me grow. The next month we had something a little bit more. Then the next month I had a website. Then the next month I had shirts. Those women in that shelter only get 30. So it wasn't like they saw my growth. However, the staff that saw me come in with my children off that bus began to see that growth, and they began to see that consistency, and they loved that. And that was something that they could not buy. And it just got better and better and better.
Awesome, awesome. I love that you said everything that you said. And one quote I have for the audience is, a plan without action, a plan without the action is a dream.
That's it.
Taking action without a plan, however, is a nightmare.
Absolutely.
And I hope you guys were listening, because what she said is, focus on the little things. It's the inches in life that create those exponential results. A lot of times we look at social media, and it's not just with nonprofit or philanthropism. It could be anything in life. You look at social media and you see a fancy car, you see, the posts, the congratulations, the likes, the comments, and you think, oh, that person just woke up one day
Right.
and had all that stuff. And in the reality, like I said, you weren't with, Ashley when she got off the bus with kids. So
Right.
you didn't see, the fruits of the labor, if you will. And so one thing I want to encourage the audience, faith without works is dead. And what Ashley has done is cultivated that work ethic and instilled that into everyone that she comes into contact with. Again,
Absolutely.
they always say you're the product of your environment, but you also make the product of that environment. And so as
Absolutely.
a person, you have to choose. If you're a survivor listening or viewing, again, you're not just a survivor, you're a warrior. You have the opportunity to cultivate the life that you want to live. You're not defined by your past. You're not defined by your oppressor. You're defined by the person that you are willing to become,
Right.
and striving to do that, again, like you said, on a daily basis. It wasn't all, it's not all peaches and rainbows. Again, like you said, sometimes sometimes you got to eat fried bologna and eggs. Sometimes you got to eat meanie weenies, right? You can't eat lobster
Listen,
every day.
I literally have a story. So when I left that shelter, of course, you don't automatically become, good overnight. We went for a transitional living facility, and in that transitional living facility, we were there for 8 months. I had found employment here in Atlanta. I had secured a vehicle. However, I was in a transitional living facility. We literally ate Family Dollar sandwiches for 3 months straight every day. And I had it mapped out. It was under $10 for every day. It was a loaf of bread, a pack of ham or bologna, sometimes cheese, sometimes we didn't get that, but it was like a 6 pack of water. Everybody got a bottle of water. Um, and I would get like a $2 bag of chips, and that was dinner. And I was working a full-time 9 to 5 at that time, but eating out was unheard of. Now I'm gonna be real, government assistance, it's weird when you're in that situation, because when you're homeless, there's only so much you can do if you don't have a kitchen. You're not able to buy hot food and different things like that. You know what I mean? So for me, that was what was convenient. So I kept it under maybe $10 to $15 a day. My children ate every single day. I remember my kids will not touch bologna now because we ate it so much. But I was so happy to be able to not only give them that, but to be able to save my money for us to have permanent housing and, for us to have something better. So I remember our first night home, I made them a huge dinner, and my son literally ate till he was sick. Like, he was just so happy. He was so proud. But those were the sacrifices that you have to make. I pride myself on being realistic. I know all too well what these ladies go through. And Instagram, this social media era will put you in a situation where you are going nowhere fast trying to keep up with an unrealistic expectation. I literally went off the grid and did what I needed to do until I could do something better.
I love you said that because, back in the day, they used to always say keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah,
Um, but now you're trying to keep up with the pixels and the
right.
JPEGs and the pictures and the
Mhm.
Photoshop. And a lot of times people don't understand, like, you can snap a picture and upload it, but it's, masked, and, it's not always, again, like you said, that realistic reality. And I hope everyone's listening as well, because, again, one word that this speaks to is resilience.
Absolutely.
Being resilient and being by a dream, convicted by a dream. Again, I want to ask the audience, I want to challenge everyone to look in the mirror right now as you're listening and viewing, and ask yourself, and you don't have to answer out loud, ask yourself, what is your dream? Uh, one of my,
Absolutely.
one of my favorite books is Simon Sinek's Start With Why. What is your why?
Right.
And, what motivates you to, like you said at the very beginning of the episode, what motivates you to get, maybe you don't have kids if you're listening, maybe you do. What motivates you to even get up, roll out the bed in the morning? You have to
Right.
understand, I encourage everyone to look in the mirror right now and ask yourself that question. If you can't definitively, with conviction and resiliency, answer that for yourself, then, like I said, you just know that it's time to get to work.
Yeah, and that's okay because even in my journey, I've picked up some habits. I've put down some. I have, been a great person. I could use some help in some areas, but I wouldn't stop. That's the importance of it. And that's what I tell my ladies all the time. Nobody is gonna go under the bridge. Well, I mean, now you can make money off of it. So people kind of get, they get a little smart. But nobody is going under the bridge taking pictures saying, well, I'm homeless today. Well, you guys, my lights are off. They don't share that. Social media is strictly meant for you to share with others what you want others to know. It has nothing to do with reality. So for me, I removed those apps from my phone. I wasn't in a place where I needed to share anything with anybody. And I wasn't the most religious at that time. I grew up in the church. My stepdad was a pastor. So I knew, I got up, I prayed, I did what I needed to do. My walk with, in faith wasn't as big in that time. So for me, it was strictly being focused and motivated. I would get up before everyone in the transitional living facility because I did not want to shower after anybody. So I'm up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm showering. I'm doing what I need to do. I have my motivational speech playing. I'm getting myself prepared for the day. And then I'm getting my children up. I'm really out here, doing what I need to do, praying. I don't see a clear path in front of me. I have no clue where I'm going to be in a month, but I know something good is going to happen. And I know that not only is faith without works dead, luck is just preparation meeting opportunity. So no matter how many opportunities I get, if I'm not prepared myself, I might as well not have them. So no matter what is going on, I need to prepare myself for what's next. I have to stay on point for these kids. I have to stay on point for myself. And I'm building a name for myself. And people are going to know Ashley. They're going to know this story. And I need to make it worth telling. So those are things that literally drove me. But you really get to a point where it's like, this is what I have to do. I don't care about anything else. I'm not focused on a bad relationship. There are so many times women get stuck in that and they become alcoholics. They can't get over the fact that they went through that. They become drug addicts. They become mentally unable to take care of themselves and their children. What I want to tell anyone out there listening is if you have become a victim or a survivor of domestic violence, your biggest part was over when you took that step to leave. You no longer have that to hinder you. Now, this is your story. You're the creator of this story. You're the author of this story. Once you left that situation, it's completely on you what you do with your history. I mean, with what you do with your future. Don't play with your future. Use that as power. It does not have to be a hindrance. And I tell my mentees that as every time I can. I do not want to hear about your past. We're going to put you on some mental health counseling and get you what you need to heal from that. But your story is yours. That no longer belongs to him. Take that power back. It's no longer his or hers because women are not the only people that experience domestic violence or family violence.
Awesome, awesome. I love you said that because again, like you said, we're not just victims and survivors, we're warriors of fighting the good fight every day. And so I kind of want to shift again, like you said, you're running a wonderful nonprofit. And I want to kind of shift to what has been your greatest success story from one of the ladies that you mentored.
And I met her in the shelter. And she only had 2 children, but this girl could braid. Actually, when I come in an hour early because we decorate. We want them to come into something that they aren't seeing every day. We want the aesthetics to be pleasing. We're women. And so during my setup hour, she was in the dining room and she was actually braiding someone's hair. And she was just doing so good. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she was like, I'm trying to find a job at this warehouse. It's right up the road. And then so I asked her, well, where are you trying to find a home at? She was trying to find a home an hour away from the job. So I'm like, okay, so if you get this permanent housing, what exactly are you gonna do about transportation, baby? And she would be like, I never thought about that. So I knew then that she was like a project. I wanted to help her. So I took her under my wing. She was well, I don't want to say one of my first mentees. I had been doing it for a while by this point. So she was one of the first ones that was consistent in mentorship. So I told her, I was like, how about this? Give me an hour every Wednesday, and I'm gonna make sure that you make your dreams come true. I'm gonna help you every way I can. So she would call me and she would cry, different things like that. It was just the stages I saw with her. She would call me crying. She couldn't find permanent housing. She didn't know if she was gonna get approved. The works, reality. And she finally got approved. She finally got her home. So then she called me crying and she told me, she was lonely. She needed some furniture. She didn't have anything. So of course, anytime any of my mentees get assigned permanent housing, we do a welcome home basket that consists of all the real stuff: utensils, curtains, shower curtain, broom, mop, the essentials that a lot of times, because of the fact that we pay what we needed to pay to get in there, we may not be able to have, especially if you don't have anything. You have a book bag with your clothes in it. So we want to make sure that they have those things. They don't have to worry about buying those. So when I got to our house, I was so proud, and I wear my emotion on my sleeve. Everybody know, you're gonna know how I feel by my face. So when I came in, I'm smiling big. I'm like, congratulations. Like, I got these balloons. And she's just depressed and she's crying. And I'm like, what are you crying about? And she was like, I don't have no furniture in here. I feel like I'm over my head. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. And I had to kind of tell her, girl, 3 days ago you were in a shelter in somebody else's bed with your babies. You should be as happy as I am right now. You should be more happy than me. I was like, we can get you some furniture. You don't have to worry about that. We can, some used pieces, some new pieces. We can do that. And she was like, you're right. And, through the night we talked and we had a 2-3 hour session. I was there. We ordered pizza. I made sure, that they were content. And the day went on. We continued to have our meetings. And this young lady, the next week, we had her furniture. We had her different pieces. And so 2 or 3 weeks later, she called me crying again. And she's like, you know, I just feel like I'm not, being mom enough. I'm always late. The kids are always late. They miss the bus. So I said, okay, so when they miss the bus, do they miss school or are they just late? They're just late. I take them. I said, okay, so you complete the task. You're just a little bit late. She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, listen, this is just another level on the belt. Like, this is another level you're on. I was like, how about this? If you need to wake up an hour early every morning, call me. Matter of fact, I'll call you. I'm up at 5 a.m. anyway. I'm going to call you every morning at 5 o'clock. If we don't have to have a long conversation, we're going to journal together. You put on your music, whatever it is that gets you motivated, and I'm going to do the same. And we're going to journal. We're going to have our cup of coffee before our day gets started. Give me 30 minutes. 5:30, you can hang up and start your day or, however you want to do it. But I can guarantee you that that'll make a difference. She was like, yes, ma'am. She began to do that. And within 2 weeks, it was like she had created a new habit and she didn't need to be on the phone with me every morning. But I was thankful because of the fact that she chose to, she chose to step up and do what she needed to do for her life. So 3 months later, she called me and she's like, I'm so busy. I got this going on. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. And she's crying once again. And I'm like, I want you to sit back and notice and pay attention to what you have overcome in 3 months. You went from crying because you didn't have nowhere to stay to crying because you didn't have new furniture. Now you crying because you're busy. What my nonprofit does is what I'm really good at is putting women with other like-minded women. There was no way that I was going to let her work in a warehouse under my mentorship and she had the talent that she had doing hair. I immediately reached out to a friend that owned a braiding shop and asked her to be her mentor, asked her to talk to her and see if there was anything that connected with her that she could do to help this young lady. And that's exactly what she did. She not only put her in her shop, but she's still her mentor to this day and mentors her on entrepreneurship and how to be able to, run her own business and really make the money that is necessary to take care of her family. She's my biggest success story because as of this point, she does not own a salon, but she does own a salon suite. This young lady is 100% self-sufficient. This young lady not only walks in her purpose, but she is one of the young ladies that I call to mentor others. I'm so proud to see her come from where she has come from. And some of the phone calls that we've had and some of the things that I've seen her endure, to watch her walk in her purpose is the reason why I do this. It's those diamond in the roughs. It's those ones that just need a hand up. It's those ones that just need a little bit more help. And I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of everything that she does. And I try to brag on her every single chance I get.
Awesome, awesome. I love that story, y'all. Again, I'm a big story person. I'm a big success story person. Again, what she said, what we've been saying all episode, conviction and resilience. Again, imagine this, y'all. Again, crying, calling your mentor, crying. And every situation where she cried, she was leveling up. And she had no
Every single
idea.
word.
And she had no idea. And sometimes I want to encourage the viewers and listeners alike. Sometimes we think we're too hard on ourselves. I encourage you to show yourself grace, because sometimes we think we're failing in an area and we're actually succeeding even higher to another place that we didn't even think we could reach. And so I encourage all of you all to, again, look in the mirror and pat yourself on the back, not pridefully, but pat yourself on the back and say, I got
Absolutely.
this, and keep going.
Absolutely. I think it's those quiet times. A lot of people always talk about the noise. The noise isn't what scare a lot of people. Sometimes it's the quiet. It's when you are alone by yourself and you have those memories that you may not have healed from, or, those decisions that you may not be proud of that you have to face. It makes you want to pick up a bottle. It makes you want to smoke. It makes you want to get out of the house because you don't want to deal with those things. But you're not going to get to where you're going until you do exactly that. That life that you want, and this is what I tell them all the time, is right on the other side of those little butterflies that make you feel some type of way, of the nervousness that you feel when you think about your dreams or you think about starting that workout plan or doing whatever it is that you know is going to make you better, but you're afraid because you don't want to fall. It's right on the other side of that. So as soon as you learn that you're exactly the person that you think you are, as soon as you're willing to understand that nobody's story is perfect, no matter what it looks like to you, as soon as you understand that resilience will triumph it over any kind of fear any day, the life that you want is right on the other side. Stay consistent, stay resilient, and do what you need to do to make your life better. That's what I'll say.
Amen, amen. And I always also want to allude to that, pressure is a privilege.
Absolutely.
Again, pressure is a privilege. And again, pressure makes diamonds. And so
Absolutely.
take a lump of coal, make a diamond with the pressure as it combusts. And so I encourage everyone to be encouraged in that everything you're going through is just leveling you up to be a greater version of yourself. And so with that being said, any last minute tips, motivation for the viewers and audience, and then also tell the viewers where they could find your nonprofit?
Absolutely. What I'll say is if you know someone or if you are experiencing any kind of family violence or domestic violence, whether it be mentally or physically, you're not alone. There are so many women out here that's doing the same thing that I'm doing that are looking for you to pull you out of whatever situation we can help and pull you out of. However, you have to take that first step. What I'll say is, if you need us, you can find us at my website, AGLMI.org, and I'll send that to you, or a girl like me 2024@gmail.com. I'm always here to help. I'm always here to motivate. Sometimes the only thing you need is a pat on the back. Never be ashamed of what you're going through because you don't know what the person beside you was going through. Use that as the fuel that you need to do better. I'm so thankful to be able to voice what my opinion is. It's just my opinion on this platform. And hopefully it reaches someone that needs it. If I can reach one, then I did my job tonight.
Amen, amen. And again, hope everyone enjoyed this wonderful finale of season 1 of the Darklaw Dominion Mental Health Series. Again, survivors, warriors alike, it's time to stand up and be the best version of yourself. I want to challenge everyone listening and viewing, go to war with mediocrity. Go to war with the grief. Go to war with the pain. Go to war with the lesser version of yourself and become who you're meant to be.
Absolutely.
And so with that being said, again, take one thing. There's been a plethora of things that have been said here today. Take one thing and apply it to your life starting tomorrow. Look in the mirror, take those challenges, be resilient, have conviction, show yourself grace, give yourself a pat on the back. We're excited to end out with season 1 with a bang here with Ashley Jordan out of Atlanta, Georgia, the ATL, just like Lil Jon said.
Absolutely. I'm so ecstatic to be here. So happy to end this night off tonight. Don't think of it as an end, think of it as a beginning. And the next time you hear this podcast, just know that he's going to have someone else on here to pour into you as well. Get what you need and do what you need to create the life that you and your family need.
Amen. This has been Dominion and Ashley Jordan out of Atlanta. Until next time on Darklaw Dominion. See you in season 2. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you for joining me on this journey into the depths of Darklaw Dominion. Remember, it's in the darkest parts of ourselves that we often find the greatest strength. Facing that darkness is not a sign of weakness, it's the path to healing, growth, and reclaiming control of your life. If this series resonates with you, or if you're looking for more empowering stories on healing and reclaiming your power, make sure to follow Decree of Dominion on Facebook, Spotify, and YouTube. There, we continue the conversation on mental health, domestic violence, and relationships, offering hope and support. Until next time, keep exploring the shadows, keep seeking your truth, and keep fighting for your light.